What's up, everybody? My name is Scott Waters, and welcome to NoLifeTilMetal. It's time for Rock Metal Update. That's right. Time for Rock Metal Updates. All 12-inch vinyl. Got a little bit of everything in here. There is, of course, a lot of metal. Some thrash, some power metal, some U.S. power metal, some hard rock, some prog, a little bit of everything in here. So we're just going to get right into it. Start with some thrash. This is Game Over, the Italian thrash metal band. This was, I believe, their 4th album. Came out in 2017. I kind of discovered these guys about maybe a year or so ago. I don't know how I missed them up till that point, but I picked up their 2025 album as a new release and really liked it. That album is kind of a little more melodic than this one. This album's a little more raw, crunchy, old school thrash metal. That one's thrash metal too. It's just got a little more, I don't know, maybe it's just the production. The production is a little cleaner, whereas this one's got a little more of a raw production, which I really enjoyed the sound on this one. Obviously the name inspired by Nuclear Assault, but these guys are far and away not a Nuclear Assault clone band. They just take all the thrash influences from the 80s and early 90s and kind of put them into a blender and come up with their own sound. So great band. So I'm always looking for more thrash, and Game Over are a great one. So this one is called Claiming Supremacy, 2017. This album came out, I'm pretty sure. This is a limited edition pressing, but it doesn't say what year the pressing came, but only the year I see on here is 2017, so I'm going to assume this is an original pressing. All right, next up, David Wayne's Reverend, of course, after splitting with Metal Church. Metal Church basically stole Heretic's vocalist, and then Heretic joined David Wayne and became Reverend. They put out an EP and then 2 full-length albums. This one here, World Won't Miss You, is, gosh, it's so freaking hard to find on vinyl, and it just was reissued by Vic Records. So the EP was also released by Vic Records, so I already had an original pressing of the EP, so I didn't worry about that one, but I was glad to get a hold of this one. It sounds good. It looks, as far as I can tell, like I said, I never owned an original vinyl. It looks just like the CD pressing that I've owned for decades, so glad to have it. And yeah, if you like Metal Church, you know, you're going to love this. Main man here is Brian. Well, I should say the main man. One of the main men here is Brian Corbin. Brian is, of course, the one of the main songwriters and guitar player. He was also in Heretic, and he's back in Heretic. And actually, this, gosh, maybe next weekend, I think. It's Sunday the 17th when I'm recording this. And I think next weekend, Heretic is actually playing at the Whiskey, maybe, out in Hollywood. Along with Primal and some other great bands. So, all right, next up, finally on vinyl, this is Lizzie Borden's Appointment with Death. This one's available in 3 different colors. This is the web store exclusive. You can only get this one from moonsoverstock.com. What's the difference between the web exclusive and all the other ones? Well, first of all, it's really nice packaging. It's the original cover art, as you can see. It was released in Greece for like 100, 200 units in Greece some years ago, but obviously impossible to find, never released in North America. Anyhow, the web store exclusive sounds was this Lizzie Borden Appointment with Death certificate. So if you want this one, it's the only place you can get this. But all the copies come with this little 4-panel insert with and then each of them has their own colors. The web store exclusive is like this gray smoke. It's called smoke vinyl. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but it's a clear vinyl with a lot of smoke patterns in it. There's also a Bloody Tears red and a Wings of Gold Angel, Wings of Gold 1-2. I can't remember if that's the full name, but it's this metallic gold looking one. Like I said, they all come with the 4-panel. They all have the same packaging. The only difference is the color of the vinyl. And if you want that that fun little extra bonus thing, the Lizzie Borden Death Certificate, that comes with the web store exclusive that is only available with the smoke gray. And they also had a little hype sticker on it too. But yeah, sounds great. It is still one of my favorite Lizzie Borden albums. I've been a Lizzie Borden fan since the 80s. Love his 80s stuff, but man, there was just something about this album. I just think Ira Black stepped it up. Plus there's some great guests on here like Dave Manichetti and stuff like that, but fantastic album. I've heard people describe this as Lizzie Borden's Painkiller, so that's not that far off. It really is one of their heavier records, and it kind of has, you know, that vibe to it. You know, it's their Painkiller. All right, next up, just came in the mail. I ordered this one a long time ago. I hadn't even got a chance to hear it, but I know what the music sounds like because I checked them out before purchasing this. But this is Interception, Metal Death. Talked about them a bit on the Metal Roundtable as well, but these guys are pure Venom worship. If you like the Venom sound, that raw, guttural Venom sound, you know, a lot of people kind of call them the original black metal band, but, you know, they don't sound like the modern black metal stuff. It's, you know, I don't know. They have an album called Black Metal, so therefore, you know, people tend to call them that. But regardless, Interception sound like that old school raw, you know, Venom, pre-thrash stuff that was coming out during the new wave of British heavy metal. There was, you know, a few bands that really sounded like Venom back then. There was, you know, because those guys were really, they were fast, they were raw, they kind of had a punk work ethic. You know, they just kind of, it was almost sloppy on purpose. That's kind of, you know, what Interception are like as well. But yeah, you know, they're one of the greats from the new wave of British heavy metal movement, and I can see why a lot of bands were inspired by them. But anyhow, next up, this is one that I had a hard time getting into. I bought it as a new release a few years ago. This one came out in, I don't know, I'm going to say, I don't see your year here, I don't know, 2023, somewhere in that area. Maybe even earlier than that. I don't know. I can't see the year on here. But it came out in the 2020s. Might have even been earlier than 23. But this is Das Musikkorps der Bundeswehr, which I assume only means We Are One. But it's basically U.D.O's album he recorded with a full orchestra. Now, for me, you know, U.D.O's got that raw. I love U.D.O's voice. I love U.D.O, the band. I love Accept with U.D.O. I love Accept without U.D.O. But this album, I don't know. When you think of U.D.O and U.D.O, you just don't think of orchestras and, you know, that kind of thing. So I bought the CD when it first came out. I played it a couple times. I put it on the shelf, and I kind of forgot about it. And I own most of the U.D.O stuff on vinyl, and I came across this copy while looking for something different. I was actually looking for Rev Raptor on vinyl because I missed out on that one. But I came across this one for a good price. It was like $20, double album set. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give it another listen. And I picked up the vinyl, and I liked it a lot better the second time. Maybe it was just, you know, the headspace I was in at the time. I just, you know, maybe when I heard it the first time, I just wasn't in the right headspace to hear U.D.O singing with orchestras and stuff in the background. It's still heavy. It's still, you know, metal, but it's metal mixed with orchestras. And it's been done before, obviously. Metallica did it. Aerosmith, lots of bands have done it, but it's that style, that vibe. So if you're into that kind of experimentation with orchestras and metal mixing together, that's what you get here with this U.D.O album. We Are One is the name of the album. What was the label this thing was on? AFM Records. Sticking with U.D.O, this is Dirk Schneider, not U.D.O. This is Dirk Schneider, and this is the re-recording of Balls to the Wall. It's called Balls to the Wall Reloaded. It is actually a very inexpensive record. I think I got this thing for like $14 on Amazon. It may still be there for that price. I wasn't going to buy it because I love, like I said, I love U.D.O. I collect anything by U.D.O, by Accept. But man, why would you take a classic album and re-record it? I just don't know why, unless you were going to do something special with it, which is kind of what they try to do here. So it's got the full album, but it's got all these guest vocals doing kind of duets with U.D.O. So you got guys like Biff Byford, Mile from Creator, and let's see, Michael Kiske, and Danko Jones, and Dee Snider, Tim Owens, Doro. I mean, those are just some of the guests that appear on this album singing duets with him. So I don't know. It's just like anybody doing it, taking a classic album and redoing the whole album. It's really hard to beat the original, especially when you've been listening to it for, you know, decades. But it is an interesting listen. I did enjoy it, and I played it a couple times already, and I'm going to play it at least one more time before I put it on the shelf because I don't want to forget about it. But yeah, enjoyable album. I mean, if you're into U.D.O, if you're a diehard fan, this is something I would recommend. If you're just you know, all you care about is, you know, Princess of the Dawn and Balls to the Wall, and that's about it, then yeah, this is not for you. But for those who are really into, you know, the Accept and U.D.O and that kind of thing, it's kind of an interesting listen, and you can get it fairly inexpensive on CD and vinyl. All right, getting out of the metal, sort of, this is Alice Cooper. This is the brand new Alice Cooper, The Revenge of Alice Cooper. This thing is fantastic. It's a return to the original Alice Cooper band for the most part. Obviously, Glenn Buxton has passed on, but you still got Michael Bruce, Dennis Dunaway, Neil Smith, and Alice himself singing. It's a double album, 45 RPM. There's all kinds of different versions of this out there, different colors. There's some that come with DVDs, and some that have I believe I saw one that came with a 7-inch single. Right now I only have this particular version, which is black, because I pre-ordered the black version before I knew about all those other versions. I usually get the black if I can. It's got the best sound. People argue about it all the time. It doesn't matter what color the vinyl is. It really does. Black is the most tested color. Black has carbon in it, which gives it a smoother ride on the needle. It's just the most tested, and it's got the best possible sound. So I always try to get the black if I can, unless it's something really special, you know. Like I've got Aerosmith Get a Grip, and it's cowhide vinyl, and it's a black and white, you know, cowhide. It's kind of neat, but regardless, good album. Sounds like classic Alice Cooper. If you like Alice, I doubt you'll dislike this album. It also says it has featuring a special appearance by Glenn Buxton. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know if they dug up some old demos with him on it and used something from it. I don't know if they're just saying he was there in spirit. I really don't know, but maybe one of you guys knows. I kind of looked it up a little bit, and I really didn't find a whole lot, but maybe someone else can fill me in on how on the front cover it says, and featuring a special guest appearance by Glenn Buxton. There's the hype sticker on her too. After 50 years, the new album by the original Alice Cooper group. There you go. Nice gatefold vinyl too, and it's on an uncoated stock. Really nice product. All right, another hard rock record. This is Good Dirty Fun by Rick Derringer. You know, if you're into, you know, guys like Pat Travers, you probably can get into Rick Derringer. Rick was also in the Edgar Winter Group, or was he in? Yeah, Edgar Winter Group he was in, and everybody kind of knows him from Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, I believe was him. But yeah, it's just a solid album. This is a import for promotional use only, so it's got the little clip on the side, and it's got the little sticker on the back, and but I picked this thing up. I don't know. You know, he passed away maybe 3 months ago, and I was just spinning some Rick Derringer records, and obviously I had him on my mind, so I was kind of looking around for some stuff, and I found this record, and it said it was in near mint condition, which it really is. The record looks like unplayed, and the cover is in great condition too, other than, you know, it's got that big cut, but it did say it was a promo pressing, so therefore that's what that's there for. But yeah, just great guitar-based hard rock. I mean, I'm sure back in when this thing came out, this might actually been the early 80s. Might have even been 1980, 81 in that area. But, you know, he would have been lumped in there with all the other heavy metal bands. But these days, most people would just call it what it is, which is just hard rock. All right, we got some prog. This is Cosmic Cathedral. This is Neil Morse and Phil Keaggy on guitar. Phil Keaggy is one of my all-time favorite guitar players. I've mentioned him multiple times on the channel and also on the round table. And I showed this album on the round table just last week. But fantastic progressive rock. You know, I mean, if you like Genesis and Yes and Nectar and, you know, just those kind of prog bands from the 70s, you kind of get that vibe here. And of course, if you're a fan of Neil Morse, you got to get this, or Phil Keaggy. Phil sings some of the songs. He plays guitar on most of the songs. You also got Chester Thompson on drums. Chester Thompson, of course, being Genesis' drummer for years, basically ever since Phil Collins became the frontman. He wasn't always back on that drum kit. So Chester Thompson was the guy back there on the drum kit. And Byron House is also in the band. So, includes the 38-minute epic song, Deep Water Suite. So there you go. If you're a prog fan like I am, proghead, Cosmic Cathedral, Deep Waters with Neil Morse and Phil Keaggy. More prog. For some reason, I just never got around to picking up the second full-length Ark Matheos album. You could consider it the third album because John Ark released his first album, A Twist of Fate, which is... It's kind of an EP. It's only 2 songs, but it's like 30 minutes long. So it's like 15 minutes each side. Actually, it's not even been on vinyl before. It was only on CD. It's coming out on vinyl, which is, you can actually pre-order that vinyl right now from boonsoverstock.com. But in any case, this is the second full-length album. We'll just call it that, from Ark Matheos. The first one is freaking brilliant, and so is the Twist of Fate. I love those 2 albums. Why I didn't hop on this one right away, I don't know, but I was actually doing some work for the John Ark album that's coming out, and was just listening to the other albums, and I'm like, man, I got to find about that new album, or the last album. I call it new, but it was like 2019, is that what it was? I think it was 2019. Yep, that is some itty bitty little type down there. I get a magnifying glass to see it. But in any case, yeah, if you're into, like, you know, Fates Warning, you know, like, I don't know, it sounds like classic Fates Warning, but it's got John Ark on vocals, so it kind of has a little bit of the later Fates Warning vibe, but with John on vocals, it kind of also has a little bit of the early Fates Warning vibe. So if you're into Fates Warning, this is basically Fates Warning without, you know, without the name being planted on it. So yeah, I highly recommend it. It's called Winter Ethereal, second full-length album from Mark Matheos. Speaking of Fates Warning, so you got the first vocalist here, second vocalist here. So this is actually Mark Zonder is the main guy in this band. Mark Zonder was the drummer for Fates Warning for decades. He also was in not Watchtower. I said that, now I'm going to mess me up. Anyhow, Mark Zonder, and then you got Ray Alder from Fates Warning on vocals. Now this one sounds a little more like Alder era Fates Warning than that one does. That one, like I said, is kind of a mix of early and later. This one definitely, I mean, if this was about to have Fates Warning logo on it, nobody would have known the difference. It just has that kind of vibe to it. This is the second album from A to Z. This one is called, what is this one called? I think it's just called 2. A to Z 2. And it's got another awesome cover with the zebra, zebra. The zipper with the alligator. The first one had the zebra with an apple. So again, very proggy, very, you know, very much in the Fates Warning vibe. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I've heard people also compare it to Dream Theater. I guess it's much closer to the Fates Warning sound than the Dream Theater sound. So, but it's you know, as I'm sitting here talking, it's making me nuts that I can't remember the name of. I said the wrong band name, and now I can't remember the band he was in. Mark Zonder, Warlord. What did I say? Did I say Warlord? I don't know what I said. But anyhow, Warlord was the other band he was in. All right. The rest of these are all. There's 4 left. These are all just straight up standard rock, not even hard rock. So if you're not into that, you know. But this is kind of a classic album that I just never owned on vinyl, and I've been kind of in a Rolling Stones kick over the last several months, listening to all my Stones albums, and I was just, which ones am I missing? And this is one of the ones. This is I believe this is the UK cover. It doesn't even say there's Rolling Stones on there anywhere on this UK cover. It says it on the back. But this is from 1966, I believe, and it's got a couple of hits on here. Mother's Little Helper was a huge hit, and Under My Thumb was a huge hit. It also has that a great, like, trippy psychedelic jam called Going Home, which is like, it's almost 12 minutes long, which you don't really think about the Stones as having a, you know, long progressive 12-minute long track, but there is just a jam on here. It's actually, yeah, called Going Home. Yeah, great album. If you like the Stones, you know who the Stones are. It's not like it's going to be any big surprise, especially the 60s Stones stuff. All right, everybody knows I'm actually wearing a Frampton shirt. Everyone knows I've been on a huge kick of Humble Pie and Steve Marriott and Peter Frampton. I went to see Peter Frampton live maybe about a month ago, and oh my gosh, he was amazing. It was an amazing show. Frampton was on stage just jamming his heart out and smiling from ear to ear, and he was just such a likable character on stage, and he sounded great. His band was great. His singing was great. His guitar playing was great. It was just a great show. So anyhow, I already had this album. I actually have a Japanese pressing, but I was searching for this album, which I'll just show it first. So this is his blues album, the Peter Frampton Band, all blues. And I'm pretty sure this is the same band that I just saw live. This thing came out a couple years ago now. But it's all classic blues tracks done, you know, Peter Frampton, you know, showing some swagger here and just letting loose. But I Just Want to Make Love to You, She Caught the Caddy, Georgia on My Mind, You Can't Judge a Book by the Cover, Me and My Guitar, all blues, The Thrill Is Gone, Going Down Slow, I'm a King Bee, Same Old Blues, and I Feel So Good. So yeah, double album of all Frampton playing with his band, playing blues tracks in Frampton style. And you know, being a big fan of Peter Frampton myself, it was a no-brainer. I actually have the CD of this, but I gotta admit, man, I kind of missed out on this thing until just this year. So a friend of mine named John, he was like, hey dude, do you have that, I know you like Frampton, do you have that blues album? Because it's really good. And I'm like, what blues album? And this is the one. So yeah, finally found a copy on vinyl for a decent price. And while looking for that, I found this. This is a white label promo, original copy of Frampton's 4th solo album, the one that came out right before Frampton Comes Alive. It is a promotional copy. You can see the sticker right there. It's got a white label on it. It's in really perfect condition. It does have a hole in it on the corner, you see right there, which is not uncommon for, especially in the 70s and into the 80s, promo copies. They punched holes, they cut corners and that kind of thing, or a little saw blade. Usually the saw blade meant that it was a cutout for discount stores, but it had like a hole or the little clip on the corner. It was a promo copy. It also came with, surprisingly, because it wasn't mentioned in the ad when I bought it, it just said mint copy of white label promo unplayed. But when I opened it up, it had the original sleeve in it, and this gorgeous promo photo, which actually has a little bit of curling due to the fact that it's so freaking old, but it's actually in great condition for being so old. It must have been kept in at least a cool, dark place. It even has the original inner sleeve. As you can see, I took it out of the sleeve and put it into a polyline sleeve, but you can see the white label promo as well. So anyhow, those first 4, 5, 6, 8 Peter Frampton studio albums, and of course Frampton Comes Alive, to me are all classics. I've been a Frampton fan since I was a kid, so I know it's way outside the metal spectrum and the hard rock spectrum, and a lot of people think of Frampton as a joke, mostly because of the Bee Gees Frampton Sgt. Pepper's movie. He kind of took a beating to his what do you call it, his I don't know, image, style, because of that movie. But I kind of liked the movie too. I was a kid again, and it was, what, 1978. It was campy, it was funny, it was fun. I was a huge fan of Alice Cooper and Aerosmith, which is another reason I watched the movie. So, but yeah, I love this album, and very cool to find this just unusual pressing with the promo photo. But it's got a few of the classics on here, like Show Me the Way, The Clawing Crown, Penny for Your Thoughts. A lot of these made it onto Frampton Comes Alive. And then one more from Frampton. This is actually an EP. This is one that's really kind of hard to come by. This was only released, it says around the front of it, special 12-inch single for South America. So this thing was pressed basically for a South American tour. It only has 2 songs on it, Rise Up and Wasting the Night Away. Both really good, hard rocking tracks from Frampton. And it plays at 45 RPM. This copy's in pretty good shape. Most of the copies I see are pretty tore up. Like I said, it was only available in South America. The only really problem with this one is this guy's signed his own copy. Apparently, I assume that's the guy who owned it. But whatever, it's I'll live with it, because it's only a 2-song EP, and frankly, I've just never even seen a copy before, so I was surprised to find that copy. Alrighty then, and I think yeah, that's it. So that's it for this edition. Appreciate you all watching. Leave a message below. I always appreciate that, and try to always respond back as soon as I can. A thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. That's it. Appreciate you watching. God bless. Stay strong.